For rupees 2.74 lakh ex-showroom, this is the Triumph Thruxton 400 which your money can buy here in India. So Triumph has launched a total of 5 motorcycles with this TR series engine so far. In India, you can buy the Speed T4, the Speed 400, the Scrambler 400X, the Scrambler 400XC, and now this is the 5th model, the Thruxton 400, a modern classic, a proper cafe racer. Now in this video, I am going to give you a very detailed analysis of the design of what has changed on this Thruxton 400 compared to other siblings. Of course, we will have a detailed ride review video which will be separately uploaded so that you can understand if this Thruxton 400 has enough go to meet the show, and if at all you should bring this home. So now is a good time to subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel and press that bell icon so that you get a notification every time we upload a video so that you can make an informed buying decision. First, let us get the specifications out of the way. The motorcycle is powered by the same TR series engine, which is a 398cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled block, but it produces 42 PS of power at 9000 RPM, but the torque is the same at 37.5 Newton meters at 7500 RPM. On the Thruxton 400 though, you get a higher red line by 1000 RPM, so it now has a max limit of 10,200 RPM. The motorcycle is coupled with a 6-speed gearbox, which has a slip and assist clutch as well. You get an upside down front fork. At the back you get a monoshock rear suspension, but you get better travel, 10 mm more travel on this Thruxton 400 compared to siblings. The wheelbase is shorter at 1376 millimeters because this bike has a revised steering geometry so that this feels sharper and tighter to ride. The ground clearance also has reduced to 158 millimeters, which is the lowest amongst siblings. The seat height also though is lowest amongst siblings, which is 795 millimeters, and you get a curb weight of 183 kg. There is a 4 kilogram weight addition on this motorcycle, but then this is not the heaviest because the Scrambler 400XC that weighs 190 kg. The bike rides on 17-inch wheels at the front and at the back. The tire profile is 110/70/17 at the front and 150/60/17 at the back. The tire sidewall is lesser on this Thruxton 400, because of which also the ground clearance has gone down. The fuel tank capacity is 13 liters, and at the front you get a 300 mm disc, at the back you get a 230 mm disc, and the power to weight ratio is 230 PS per ton, which is the highest for this TR series engine. The radiator shrouds have been reprofiled to optimize heat dissipation, so the rider is not going to feel the heat. You get 4315 sprockets on this motorcycle. Now because of the revised geometry, the rake angle has been changed, it is more tighter, and because of that the wheelbase has reduced by 10 millimeters, and that is why this Thruxton 400 is going to feel like a more sharper, more agile motorcycle to ride, especially if you are riding around winding roads. But more about that, about the riding experience, in our ride review video. Now you know all the basics that have changed internally. The engine has been retuned because Triumph wanted to achieve that 100 miles per hour number. That is important to cafe racers. That is the whole lineage, heritage of cafe racers. And this bike has a top speed claim of 161 kilometers per hour. So it is delivering that ton up fun of riding a motorcycle. It can do that serious high speed. But what about the design? Let me tell you everything about it. Now speaking about the design, you of course have to first talk about that cafe racer fairing. Looks very iconic, very stylish, and at this price point there is nothing quite like the Thruxton 400. It does have a modern take to it, and if you come up close you will notice that the headlamp is the same, shared with the siblings. Of course, that is for better economies of scale, but it is a full LED unit and it does look nice and premium. Of course, you have the Triumph branding over here as well, and you have some smoke effect elements inside. A very good looking unit. And then you will notice that this fairing, it has this clear bubble effect, windscreen, fly screen, which is going to help in some aerodynamic efficiency. And then your dominant color, the color that you choose for your motorcycle, is going to be seen on this Cafe Racer fairing. Of course, you have contrast decals as well, and these are the colors which you will see on the fuel tank and also on the pillion seat cowl. Overall, the fairing looks very nice and it is very neatly integrated. And what you will like is that this turn indicator mounted on this panel over here, the panel is also very nicely designed, so it gives that aerodynamic design language. So it looks very sporty, it looks very premium from the front end and also from the side profile. So if you want a motorcycle which is going to look good while posing, especially in pictures, this is quite a stylish bike that you can buy here in India. Then you will notice you have your LED turn indicators, which we are flashing right now because it also has hazard light functionality. The front suspension is an upside down unit. Again, even the springs are different, the fluids are different, and the suspension tune is completely different to suit the Cafe Racer riding stance, the nature of the motorcycle, the weight of the motorcycle. So it is not just a cosmetic change that you will see on this Thruxton 400. Even the engine has been retuned heavily. Then you will notice that the alloy wheels, they are all black, no machine finish. The disc brake is on the other side. These alloy wheels, when you go to the export model, they are going to be lighter. These are more heavy duty because the Indian road conditions are pathetic, as we all know. Then over here, you also have a reflector for lateral visibility. The fenders have been reprofiled. You also have some extensions as accessories, so you can buy that. Over here on the radiator, this is a stock fitment. You get a radiator grill, and then you will notice that the exhaust is fully in a metal finish. Looks quite nice, and I am okay with that. I did not expect a black finished exhaust. This looks nice, it looks premium. Have a look at that fairing from the side profile now. It mingles with the fuel tank. Then you have these contrast colors and decals which try to match this, stripe that you see on the fuel tank. Looks quite nice, but it could have been a bit more premium than what it is. It is all right, but it is not up to my taste or up to my quality expectations. There are some rough edges in and around that area. But nevertheless, it is a good color option that you are getting. This is the brightest, I think, because this is yellow. Then you have white, you have black, and you have red. So it's a good mix that you get to buy. Then you have this crash bar over here, again finished in black. This is your familiar TR series 400cc class engine, finished in black. You have some machine finish. It is a liquid cooled motor, but you have these aero fins to give that retro aesthetic. This panel over here has been reprofiled. The side panel is also completely new. It has the Thruxton 400 branding as well. And this little panel, this thing also, even this has been redesigned and reprofiled. So it shows that Triumph has paid very fine attention to detail to make sure that the Thruxton 400 looks different and it looks correct as per the Cafe Racer aesthetic. The fuel tank of this motorcycle, same in size, I guess 13 liters. Metal fuel tank, but it is completely reprofiled. It is much slimmer, and you have, better space for your knee recesses, so you can grab onto the fuel tank when you're riding this bike hard and fast on canyon roads. This fuel filler cap also is very different to look at, has a very nice matte finish to it. Not really brushed aluminum, but looks quite nice and premium. And then now you are looking at the biggest highlight, the biggest change on this motorcycle, which is this clip-on handlebar. Of course, second to the fairing, which is very stylish to look at. Now this clip-on handlebar, it is narrower and also it is lower compared to that on the Speed 400, because of which you are going to be seated in a sporty riding position, and that is going to ensure that you stay committed to this Thruxton 400 format. So do give it a test ride before bringing it home just because it is beautiful, because you have to ensure that you are comfortable when you're going to be riding this. Then when you come up close to the handlebar, you will notice you have the standard controls, your kill switch, your hazard light button, and then this is your horn switch. Here you have your pass light switch, and then You have your headlamp controls. This is to toggle between the information, turn indicators and your horn control. But there is one very interesting element, how they have integrated it, and that is the USB charger on this motorcycle, which is over here on this clip-on handlebar. Very unique placement. I don't know how you're going to use it, but nevertheless it has been offered. The clip-on handlebars, they are in all black, and it is a very well done setup. Nothing looks shabby over here. Another thing that I really like is the placement of this brake fluid reservoir, done in a very sporty fashion, and I really like it. It looks like a product which is from segments above. Just because of this, looks very sporty, very racy. Then the speedometer cluster is the same which you have seen on the other siblings, on the other 4 models. The speedometer cluster has the same layout. You have a analog speedometer, and then you have a digital display which shows you plenty of information, out of which this tachometer is completely useless. You have your gear position indicator, and then here you have your odometer, your trip meter, your mileage information, and your distance to empty, traction control settings, and you also have a digital fuel gauge. Overall, this speedometer cluster is easy to read except for that tachometer, and that could have been changed on this bike. Maybe you had a more dominant tachometer and the speedometer was full digital. Could have looked good on this Thruxton 400, isn't it? Especially when it is revving 1000 RPM higher than its siblings. But that is just my preference. You saw the fuel tank, which is completely reprofiled. You saw this Cafe Racer fairing, which looks very stylish. Now have a look at this pillion seat cowl, which also has the same colors and decals over here, which you saw on the tank and also on the fairing. Very nice, very neatly done in terms of integration, and it fits very neat and flush. It is bolted over here. The Allen key is also mounted under the seat very nicely. I will show that to you. And to open the seat, you have the keyhole on the left hand side, and then check this out. These are the 2 Allen key points by which this seat cowl is kept in place. This is the Allen key to open it up. So very nicely done, a very neat integration, and it does look quite good, doesn't it? This seat cowl with this Cafe Racer design language. Now the next thing that you have to notice is the tail lamp, which is completely reprofiled. Now this is something that I don't like. If Triumph had the chance to redesign the tail lamp, and if they were going to stay true to the Cafe Racer design language, this could have been a circular unit, a round tail lamp unit, a round LED tail lamp. I don't know why this is done. It looks a bit out of place in my opinion. The rear subframe is slimmer than siblings. You have this pillion grab rail over here as well, which is also a bit different to look at compared to siblings. Then you have these turn indicators over here, LED of course. This panel over here is also different. This rear mud flap and fender is different. I guess this is also shorter, but I'm not very sure about it. As you can notice, you get Apollo tires with this Thruxton 400. On the left hand side, you will notice you have that sari guard, which most of y'all are going to remove the very first thing, and I think most of y'all will also remove this pillion grab rail, so that you have a very complete looking Cafe Racer without these ugly bits. But that is your choice, your preference. On the left hand side, what you will also want to notice is that the gear shifter doesn't have any quick shifter. Now the Bajaj Pulsar has it, the Pulsar NS400Z. Maybe Triumph thought of offering that on this bike, which is more with a sporty intent. It could have been appropriate. Maybe they'll think about it in the future iteration of this Thruxton 400. So in terms of visuals, that is pretty much it in terms of the changes and what you get. It is a very beautiful looking motorcycle. These bar and mirrors are part of the standard kit. There is no mirror mount over here on the fairing. So this is how the bike is going to look like. Of course, you also have an option of a more premium looking bar and mirror, but that is as an accessory. Speaking about the finer details, the chassis is different for this Thruxton 400. Like I said, the steering geometry has been changed. The main chassis is the same, which is holding on to your engine, but the rear subframe is slimmer for this Cafe Racer format. You will notice that the foot pegs, they are mounted separately. On the other bikes, the foot pegs are mounted a bit forward, around this section, but they are over here now, and they are also a bit higher. Very nice rubber top on the rider and pillion foot pegs, so it is going to help reduce some vibrations that are felt on your feet. And then even the gear lever, it has a very nice finish to it, so again, it doesn't look like a cost cut motorcycle. The swing arm also looks nice. It is not a box type budget kind of a swing arm. The disc brake is on this side, on the left hand side, and Triumph likes to do it, and they say that they do it primarily for design aesthetics. So the disc brakes are on the left hand side, both at the front and at the back, and the rear sprocket is here on the right hand side. These are just design choices. These are to stay true to their brand lineage. Now let us talk about the rider's triangle. My height is 5 feet 8 inches, I weigh 82 kg, the seat height is 795 millimeters. Now when I swing a leg, you can notice I have both my feet flat on the ground, and it is a very confidence inspiring seating position, primarily because the bike is very slim between my legs, and this is going to ensure that I am flat-footed and I don't feel nervous. So if this is going to be your first cafe racer, if this is going to be your first premium motorcycle, you will not be scared once you hop onto it. But if you are a seasoned rider, if you have taken some time off from riding motorcycles, this riding stance might want you to reconsider, because this is committed. Now Bajaj says that the riding posture is more committed than the Continental GT 650 from Royal Enfield, but less than the Yamaha R15. So that is a reference that they are sharing. Nevertheless, you are crouching forward, so you will feel some pain on your wrist, elbow and shoulder in the initial days of ownership, not so much on your back. But this is going to require you to sit like this unless you have longer arms, so you will be more upright on this motorcycle, but then that depends on different body types. The foot pegs, like I mentioned, they are rear set, they are higher up, and also you have plenty of space over here to move your knees, so you can grab onto the bike, this fuel tank, and then have some fun on canyon roads, on ghat roads. And it does feel quite nice when you are seated on the motorcycle. The lock to lock angle of this handlebar, of this steering of this Thruxton 400, again also not too difficult, so you're not going to try to reach out to extreme ends, to extreme lengths, so it is going to be very comfortable for the average Indian height. On the seat, you will notice you have plenty of space to move around, so especially when you are tucking into this position, when you want to achieve that high top speed number, when you want to achieve 100 miles per hour, this is how you're going to be seated. And even for my height and my body type, there is enough space on the seat. And as you can notice, the pillion seat is completely covered, so I'm not eating into the pillion seat space. This is my space, and there is enough space for me. So I think this should keep most of the riders happy. It also depends on personal preference. Now overall, to move this bike, it is not very difficult. The weight is higher compared to some models on this TR series platform, but nevertheless it is still manageable, and I did not find it intimidating at all. To get on and off the motorcycle, the pillion seat is also not very high up, so you can easily swing your legs and hop onto the bike, start riding, or park it, get off and get going. Overall, finally we are glad that you have a cafe racer motorcycle which is done up so well. Everything is very nicely integrated, and Triumph is offering you a very good service interval as well, and they are offering you good warranty. Now the Triumph brand has become quite popular here in the Indian market, especially in this engine CC class. There are so many models now, a total of 5 to choose from, so the Triumph dealerships are going to get some good sales numbers. But will the cafe racer format become a successful model here in India? Time will tell, because not too many brands have tried to do that, especially in this price range. There were a few hits and misses back in the day, but this is for 2025. I really like it. What is your opinion about the Triumph Thruxton 400? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have any other questions, ask me and I will try my best to help you out. Do not forget to check out our detailed ride review video as well, so that you know what this bike is going to offer to you. See you soon. Ride safe.